Hello everyone, I am Joshua Kiwamide. I am project team lead for this program. I welcome you all, and it's my prayer that Almighty God takes control of all the activities of today, and at the end of it all, we give the glory to Him. Before we go into the event completely, I would like us to take the national anthem.
Joshua, you're not playing it. So Joshua, you may end up.
Yeah. So, one nation bound in freedom, peace, and unity. Please, I would like to welcome everyone once again, and I would like to give a brief overview of the event. On the 21st of May, which is today, UNESCO's World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development is held. This day has been celebrated from the year 2002, and the theme for this year is Our Shared Stories, Celebrating Together. Today's event is about hearing from esteemed individuals with diverse cultural backgrounds and professions to discuss with us on their experiences and the value that diversity offers. We believe at the end of this program, we're encouraged to strengthen peace through better understanding and appreciation of our cultural diversity. Learn from personal experiences shared among our panelists that reflect how diversity has enriched their lives and communities. Stay connected and enjoy the program. I will hand over to the moderator now. Ms. Banke, please, can we have you?
Banker, can you please unmute?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening. We're glad to have you here
Hello,
on our
can you hear
program.
me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Banker, we can hear you. Banker, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much for being here today. The program, like team leader said, is one of the initiative of ALG Youth. So, and today on the program today, we have big fish in our as panelists, and we're going to be discussing the theme of this event. So, we are going to call the president for the keynote address. Without wasting much of our time, can you please all join me to welcome the president?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Itwa Igodalo, and I am, by God's grace, the president of the African Leadership Group, a unit of the Tri-Africa Empowerment Foundation, LTGGTE. It is my pleasure and my privilege to welcome all of us to this program that we're having in celebration of the World Day for Cultural Diversity, for Dialogue and Development. The World Day for Cultural Diversity, for Dialogue and Development. I am pleased that at long last, the world and the international community and the world at large, especially UNESCO, is now recognizing and admitting that there's something called diversity, and that diversity must be recognized, diversity must be appreciated, diversity must be accommodated, and diversity must be included. It means that we have now gone a shade away from oppression, from suppression, from racism, from all manners of discrimination, which had hitherto sort of ruled the world. You know, in 1884, a man called Macaulay said in the British Parliament that it was important that we made the African and the Indian to think that everything that was theirs was inferior, and that everything that was European or Western was superior, and that was the best way by which the final occupation of the world, or the African and Indian continent, could be completed. It was called the enslavement of the mind. But now we gather to celebrate a day of immense significance, this day where diversity is recognized. And it is also a call to action, a reminder of the beauty and strength found in our differences, you know, because this is how the Almighty created us, and a testament to the power of unity through diversity, recognizing that people are different, recognizing that each person has their own attitude, their own culture, their own exposure, their own way of doing things. And it does not necessarily mean that one is superior to the other or another is inferior to the other. It just means that things are done differently, and these differences have to be accommodated, accepted, and included. The theme for this year is Our Shared Stories, Celebrating Together. Indeed, all our stories are shared, and we all have different stories, and we all have different strengths, we have different capabilities, and we have different values that we bring to the table. And that's what makes the world truly a better place. Unity in diversity is our focus for discussion today, so that we can all understand, appreciate, and celebrate, even in Nigeria and in other parts of the world, our cultural diversity. And that is what makes Nigeria strong, the strength of the people from the Southeast that give us that trade and that ability to fight against all odds, the culture and the wisdom and the depth of the people from the West who have this manner and way of approaching issues, very, very subtle, very, very distinguished, very, very celebrational. The anecdotes, the proverbs, and the tradition of the West. The beauty and the splendor of the North and the traditions, very deep traditions, and respect for themselves and the heritage of various people who live there is what makes Nigeria what it really should be and what should have made it the cynosure of eyes and a big attraction of culture. Just a few days ago, I am told that the Germans, through the Federal Republic of Nigeria, returned some bronze heads and some wood carvings, two of them, to the Oba of Benin. Okay, these things had been in Germany for many years. They had been returned to the federal government. The federal government had held them. And then in a show of love and gesture of appreciation, they brought those things to the Oba of Benin. And he was ecstatic. He was dancing, he was celebrating, he was happy to show that elements of his culture had now come back to where they should have been. And that is the kind of diversity that we all want to appreciate and we all want to celebrate. Education plays a pivotal role in this endeavor by fostering a culture of inclusion and respect from a young age. We can build societies that value diversity and see it as a source of strength rather than a cause for division. We must ensure that our differences do not become barriers, but rather they become bridges that connect us, appreciating one another and giving thanks for the way the Almighty has created us. We must reach out across the divide to find out what our challenges are and how we can all best work together. As we look to the future, let us commit to a world where every culture is celebrated, every person is appreciated, every voice is heard, and every individual feels a sense of belonging. On this World Day of Cultural Diversity, I urge each one of us to embrace the richness that diversity brings, the richness that the Spanish bring, the richness that the Indians bring, the richness that the African brings, the richness that the Latinos bring, the richness that the Yorubas bring, the richness that the Hausas bring, the beauty that the Fulanis bring, the strength that the Igbos bring, the smoothness that the Ijaws and the people of the South bring, and all manners of differences that make us one united whole. You see, the fingers are never equal, but put together, they make a strong statement of strength and inclusion. May the Lord really bless us all on this day. May we engage in dialogue that seeks out different perspectives and celebrate the unique contributions of all our cultures. Thank you very much. I want to thank all those who worked very, very hard to put this together. Victor and Jumoke and Yewande in the back office, supported by Faye, our various panelists, and the head and the team leads of this youth, ALG youth movement. I want to thank you all for everything that you've done. And to our panelists, Ms. Kate Henshaw, Mrs. Nana Yakubu, Kachi Okezie, I look forward to wonderful discussions, hearing and learning from you all. God bless you.
So, Ms. Banke, over to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. The President for African Foundation. We appreciate you, sir, for the opportunity to groom the youth. We thank you for this platform, the ALG. Now we want to recognize our special guests, those who deem it fit to be part of us, those who didn't think that, okay, what are they doing here? They, out of their busy schedule, they are here with us to celebrate us. So we want to appreciate them. We thank you, the president, the VP 1 and 2, all the ALG executives. We appreciate you. The team leads and his team, we appreciate you. So, and we want to specially and honorably appreciate Auntie Yemisi Ransom Kuti of NNGO. Thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you. We have Mrs. Aisha Oyobode of Muritala Muhammad Foundation, and she's represented Mrs. Olasoji by Mrs. Olasoji. We appreciate you, ma. Thank you so much. We appreciate Ajia Saudatu Madi of R.E.A.L. We appreciate you, ma. Our able ambassador of African Union. Thank you, sir. Ambassador Tunde Adetunji. We appreciate you, ma. The Professor Cultural Anthropology, the African Union. Thank you, sir, for being here. We appreciate everyone. The ALG youth, you are wonderful. You are wonderful for this initiative. And our coordinator, the program coordinator, we appreciate you. You are all welcome once again. Without wasting much of our time, we are going to proceed to the next program we have on in this event. We are going to proceed. So I will call on our vibrant team lead, Mr. Joshua, to give us the interlude now. So we are going to be having the interlude for just 4 minutes. So Mr. Joshua, can we have the interlude, please? Okay. Please, let's all look at our screen. Okay.
Yes, sir. Make sure you. Okay.
So I have a question for you guys. What motivates you to travel? For some people, it's food. For others, it's nature or architecture or whatever. But for me, it's always been about the people. I'm simply addicted to traveling to faraway places and connecting with local indigenous cultures. I'm fascinated by the way these people live and the way they maintain historical and cultural ties with their land. I'm intrigued by how they've survived invasion and colonization while still holding on to their values generation after generation. The following are 5 incredible indigenous cultures I've met around the world. 1. The Himba tribe of Namibia. A few years ago, I took a bus out into the middle of nowhere in northern Namibia and stumbled upon people living in tents. They are known for their unique hairstyles and use of red clay to protect their bodies from the sun. Oh man, this is culture. We spent about 4 hours together, dancing their traditional dance and observing each other's way of life. 2. The long neck ladies of Thailand. Originating in Myanmar, the Kayan tribe came to northern Thailand as refugees, and they carry on this custom to lengthen their necks with brass rings as a sign of beauty and cultural identity. Does it hurt? Have pain? No pain.
No pain.
It's really one of the most fascinating displays of local culture anywhere in the world. 3. The Omo Valley of Ethiopia. In the southwestern part of Ethiopia lives one of the world's most remote tribes called the Mursis. They are 100% nomadic people who wear unique clothes, pierce their inner lips as a fashion statement, man that's pretty heavy, and rely on cattle, goats, and sheep to survive. This is where they keep all the goats. And yes, they mostly eat them raw. 4. The Dancing Tribe of Yemen. In the Hadramaut region of central Yemen, there are various tribes living in the desert and valleys of Wadi Dohan. A few weeks ago, I was lucky enough to stumble upon a wedding ceremony. Hello, assalamu alaikum, where they carried out the most unique dances and songs. It was a very special experience. 5. The Ngunis of Swaziland. 3/4 of the population of Swaziland are the Nguni tribe, and their clans are controlled by chiefs. In my case, I was lucky to witness a female chief who took over right after her husband passed away. I joined them for an afternoon of traditional dances and ceremonies, and it was a day I'll never forget. So you guys might be wondering, well, these tribes are cool, but why should you care about indigenous people? Well, for one, they protect our environment. While they only use up a quarter of the world's surface area, they shield 80% of Earth's biodiversity, including the forests in the Amazon, the Congo, and Indonesia. Also, it's important to acknowledge and protect indigenous people because their beautiful cultures are being threatened by our quickly globalized world. I think we can all agree that the Earth is our treasure, and we need to protect our environments and local cultures before it's too late.
So, everyone, you can see the video that was just played, and we can all agree the importance of I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, there was interference, but we can hear you now.
Okay, I said with the video that has been played, I hope you can see the importance of diversity and the importance of maintaining our cultural background. We went through 5 different countries with different tribes: Namibia, Thailand, Ethiopia, Yemen, and Swaziland. And you can see their uniqueness in their culture. So I will encourage every one of us on this call to let's listen to what our panelists have to say as regards cultural diversity and how it affects us as a society. So I'll be handing over to our panel moderator, Uche, who will moderate the panel discussion. Uche, you have the floor.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Please. Am I audible?
Yes, we
Hello?
can hear.
Yes, you are. Go on.
Okay, all right.
Yes, you are.
Right. Yeah, once again, I welcome everyone to this wonderful program and initiative to connect like minds on this subject worldwide to air our views and opinions about what we're actually discussing about. So all protocols observed. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our panelists for them to, express their opinions and tell us one or two things as regards cultural diversity. So I'll go now by introducing their names. The names of our panelists are, we have Miss Kate Enshaw, then we have Mrs. Nana Dashe Yakubu, and then we have Barrister Kachi Okezie. So before we proceed to the question and answering aspects of these discussion, I would like to give a background overview as regards like a biography of the panelists. Firstly, I'll go with Kate Enshaw. Mrs. Kate Enshaw is an actress, a social advocate, author, and a fitness enthusiast. Then our second panelist, in the person of Kachi Okezie, is a Nigerian-born lawyer, international trainer, and management consultant, specializing in diversity and leadership development. Yeah. So this is just a brief overview or biography of our panelists. Then the last of our panelists is Mrs. Nana Dashi Yakubu, and she partners with one of these organizations. We have the PSLC NIPSS, the FHTI, the FITPN. She's also an author, and then she likes to hike. So Mrs. Nana Yakubu is a fellow of two notable tourism professional bodies in Nigeria. She's also the zonal coordinator of Nigerian Tourism Development. That is an authority, not Central Zone JOS. Then a seasoned tourism professional and author of the book Introduction to Tourism Studies for Schools and Colleges, which was published in the year 2020, has been assessed by Federal Ministry of Education, NERDC, and an approved textbook for schools in Nigeria. Nana has served in and chaired several committees on tourism, culture, and travel at federal, state, and community levels. She is one of the tourism resource persons for Nigeria Education Research and Development Council for the planning workshop for development of 18 trade entrepreneur subjects for senior secondary schools, the writing and infusion workshop for review of 34 entrepreneurship curriculums, the editorial workshop for review of entrepreneurship curriculum, and the teacher's guide development workshop. She's also an external examiner for the Department of Tourism and Leisure Studies, Plateau State Polytechnic. Nana has received 11 awards, amongst which are the 2020 100 Top Tourism Personalities in Nigeria by the ATQ, Special Recognition Award of Industry Icon, Balearica Awards of Nigeria Travel Awards, then Fellowship Award by National Institute for Hotels and Tourism, NIHOTOUR. That's on the 10th of April 2023. Fellowship Award by Institute for Tourism Professionals of Nigeria, ITPN, 20th April 2023. Then the NDTA, where she was awarded in 2022 Staff of the Year North Central, and has commended us several times through letters for articulation, hard work, zeal, and competence, and has done several various courses on tourism and leadership, amongst which are professional certificate in tour guiding by Neil Tour, effective management for travel trade, then policy, strategy, and leadership course, that is PSLC 40 at NIPPS Kuru 2020, and was even given recommendation or commendation for excellent performance during the course. Introduction to Tourism Industry Management by United Nations World Tourism Organization, UNWTO Online Academy. Nana has presented papers at various travel and tourism events and academic conferences, namely the Youth
Thank you, Uche. I think we can skip all that. Maybe we can share her bio at some time so that we can go on with the program. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So
quite long, Mr. Uche.
all right. Yeah, yes, ma'am. So let's proceed to the questions to the panelists, and we'll comment to all the panelists. We're starting with Mrs. Kate Enshaw. And please, Ma, we appreciate. Hello?
It's Miss Henshaw.
Okay. Sorry about Miss Kate Enshaw. Yes, we appreciate you for honoring this invitation and coming on this platform to share with similar minds like you on the subject of cultural diversity. So I would like to ask you, how do you personally define cultural diversity? And why do you believe it is essential for society as a whole?
How will I define cultural diversity? Simply put, different cultures. Diverse means different. What was the other question? The importance?
Yeah, like the essence of social diversity to the society as a whole.
It makes for variety. God created the world different. It would be such a boring place if we were all the same. Even starting from the animals, the different species of animals, fish, mammals, carnivores, herbivores, all sorts. So why not human beings? It makes for better cohesion, inclusion. I believe will help us appreciate each other more, having an open mind as to what other people celebrate, their culture, their food, their way of dressing, their history, and also to see the struggles and where they've come from, their journey. It makes for a better informed individual, especially if you have an open mind. You know, you're not closed up and saying, oh, yours is the best. There might be other cultures out there, especially if you travel. If you travel even within Nigeria, you will experience different culture. And I believe our diversity is actually where our strength lies.
All right. Thank you so very much. And from the little things you've shared, I can see you're trying to emphasize the importance of diversity, variety, like killing superiority complex amongst tribes and different regions of the world, because there's always a positive collaboration to look into every tribe, every culture, and every tradition. So the essence of this is to bring across the world culture and traditions that are in unison to everyone. All right.
Yes.
So the next question is how can the entertainment industry, because now we are trying to find out in respect to your field, in respect to your line, in respect to what you've done down the years and all that. So how can the entertainment industry strike a balance between preserving cultural heritage and embracing innovation and progress, ensuring that traditional cultures evolve and thrive in a modern world?
To strike a balance, inclusion is so, so important, because if you don't include people, then you're dealing with just your sphere of knowledge. So inclusion will strike that balance. I watch series, even there's one particularly that I watch from South Africa, and they always end up including their local language, even while they speak English, which to me is very fascinating. And it also makes you maybe even want to learn and try to find the meaning. There's another one that I watch where you have a detective and she's fully dressed in a hijab. Now, if you're looking at stereotypes in the society out within your local environment or outside of the country, you would think that women in hijabs are conservative, quiet, hidden. But she is playing an investigative detective in this series. So that inclusion also helps to change mindsets, also helps you to look at things from a different perspective. So inclusion will help you strike a balance. Now, you cannot take away from the fact that some people want to show only their culture. You cannot begrudge them that. But when you include other elements, it's like ingredients for soup. You cannot just have leaf, green leaf. It will be a bit bland. But if you introduce other, you put your vegetables, you put your meat, you put colors, then it makes it sweeter. So the pot or the world is a sweeter place when there is inclusion. Of course, that will strike that balance for us.
All right. Thank you so much, emphasizing the importance of inclusion again, because
Spices, variety, spice of life, they say. Yes.
Yeah. So because if we add everything by ourselves, then there'll be no need for one another. So the universe is designed in such a way that you can't have everything to yourself, and that is the essence of diversity. So you being able to work together with those around you in your vicinity, outside and to other parts of the world, can actually bring out the best in everyone, in every culture, to achieve and direct a common cause. Yeah, so that's very, very important. All right, so from your perspective, how do you think the movie industry help to dismantle deeply ingrained prejudices against any particular culture, given the level of polarization we've seen in recent history?
Okay, I blame the politicians for the polarization, but that's not what we're talking about here.
All right.
I would say stereotypes. Now, if you watch Yoruba films, which I watch a lot on Africa Magic, you would think they're all diabolical movies, but I learn a lot from them. There are lessons to be learned. every time, you know, how evil is repaid, how good is repaid, and how if you do bad, you'll be rewarded with the consequences that go hand in hand with that. If you do good, how you're rewarded. Now, if you look at Igbos, you'll say, oh, maybe they are ritualists, and they kill, all they do is get into the shop and sell. If you look at the North, you are talking of religious extremism. So those are the stereotypes that need to be broken down when you're portraying a character. For me, I have played a northerner in a movie many years ago, Halima. I even spoke Hausa. I've played in a Yoruba film, Etiketa. I spoke Yoruba. I haven't had to learn it because my Yoruba is not that strong. I've played an Igbo girl, you know, Stronger Than Pain, one of my award-winning movies where I won the Best Actress 2008. I played Eringa in the East. You know, I spoke Igbo. So when you do not stereotype people, then others get to see the other side, the human side of them. So stereotyping cultures, religion, traditions, tribes is a dangerous thing. So the movie industry has that onus. Like I said, it's left to the producer or whatever. But when we are trying to balance out how there shouldn't be all this strife, we should learn to portray others in a good light.
All right. Thank you so much. As regards that, the issue of there's always, let's say, a like a mindset built in the minds of the viewers or the masses just through the TV sets, because there are certain times that certain storylines are peculiar and particular to a particular kind
Tribe.
of movies, like Tribe, Yoruba movies, this and that. I myself have witnessed this growing up. Anytime we are thinking about movies that talk about, okay, like all these village gods, the traditionalists, and all that. You always find that among the Yorubas and all that. So little things like this, even though we are trying to, entertain the masses, can create a kind of, mindset, in their minds, and that's just from that little things. You can have several kinds of, prejudices going on and all that. So, all right. That's like that's just one point. Then have you ever faced any stereotypes or typecasting in the industry, maybe due to your cultural background, and how did you overcome them?
Nah, I've not faced any stereotypes. Like I just mentioned, I've played characters from different tribes within Nigeria. And I mean, if they felt that I was only going to represent my tribe, I don't think I would get those roles. It's also the versatility of the actor. It pays you to be versatile. It pays you not to be typecast into a particular role, because then you are limited in the display of your talent and the gifts that you have deposited inside of you. You cannot play one role for the rest of your life. You're cutting yourself off from a lot of experience and being able to expand your talent and your knowledge. So no, I haven't experienced any typecasting or stereotype because of where I come from. So I thank God for that. But also, I after a while, I would say for one, I was given a lot of roles where I was downtrodden, always being beaten, crying, despondent. After a while, when it comes, I said no more, which was why Blood Sisters was a total shock to a lot of people, because the character was all the way over there on the other side. And for me, that turned the tide, and it helped people look like, oh, okay. Oh, so she can do this. Oh, right. And then after that, I've done several other roles in that kind of character. So I've sort of like shifted the goalpost, and I just said, okay, enough of the crying. Let me be mean. Let me be mean now. I can do it.
Of course, exactly. And I was coming there anyway because I just wanted you to talk. Most of the movies I've seen you in, even like down the years, is always tears and all. I was like, hey,
no more
this
tears.
woman can cry. Like, I was actually, being fascinated by how you're just able to put out your emotions just within a twinkle of an eye and all that. So I was like, is it only these roles, or it's only
Ah.
when they want to cry you?
They'll call me, Kate, come and cry. No, the crying has reduced greatly, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. So and I think another thing that I feel this let's say approach from you has done is that even if, let's say, the directors of the movies have this kind of prejudices in your mind, but coming to someone like you that don't stereotype, that you are willing to work across several let's say movie sets, roles and all that, it immediately tells them the kind of person you are, that you don't encourage any kind of bias or segregation and all
No,
that.
at all, at all.
Mhm.
No, it's for me. It will be very limiting if you don't open your mind to see what is around you, the different tribes, food. Nigeria especially, we're so blessed. From the north to the south to the east and the west, the flavors of people and food and colors in our dances, it's so vibrant. And I think that is where our strength lies. And I see no reason why we should even have friction within ourselves. We can appreciate. I mean, I served in the north. I served in Bauchi. I've been to the north, been to Kano, been to Kaduna, and it's nice. They're lovely people. They're human beings. They are Nigerians.
All right. Thank you. You just like coming back to you, Miss Kate Ensure. I would like to ask bring this discussion to Mr. Kachi Okeze. Like I said before, he's a Nigeria-born lawyer, is an international trainer and management consultant specializing in diversity and leadership development. I can add more to this, but we don't actually have time. So we are actually glad to have you on board, sir. Barrister
Great.
Kachi Okeze. Yes, sir.
Fabulous.
Yes, sir. So, like, from your perspective, like personally, how would you define cultural diversity, and why do you believe it is very, very essential for the society as a whole?
Thank you, and thank you to African Leadership Forum, the African Leadership Group, of which I've been involved with for some time, and some amazing programs that we do on Thursdays. So I'm glad that this is extending to the youth and engaging them, because I know we've discussed the importance of doing that. I'm actually fascinated by how quickly the leadership of the ALG has responded in giving life to that recommendation that was made not too long ago. So I really, really commend. I was excited to be part of this when I was invited, and so yeah. To your question, cultural diversity is essentially, to me, about, first of all, what is culture? Culture is how we do things around here. It's my very simple characterization of it. Culture really is about how we do things around here. And so in every society, in every community, in every broader gathering of people, there is that collectivity. You have those sort of common norms that have been built up in the usages, in the practices, in the norms. They have, become identified, almost in some cases uniquely, with that particular region. I'm speaking to you. I'm joining you from the United Kingdom in Wales. I'm in Wales. Here, there are so many things that are unique to the different countries and communities that make up the United Kingdom. And despite the need to modernize and to evolve in a political sort of fashion, one of the things that I am really impressed with here, usually that, I respect these people for, is how they consciously build in mechanisms and systems that are designed specifically to sustain the key elements of their culture, of their uniqueness, of the different areas that make up the United Kingdom. And they make sure that those unique values and, cultural representations are not tampered with. Okay, so that's very important. You go to Wales, they have their St. David's Day, they dress, they build these things into the national curriculum, and it's just for Wales. You go to Ireland, you have St. Patrick's Day, they build it there, design it, and it's for that place. St. George's Day in England, everything. So all the traditions that make up a place. So what is then the issue here? I think this conversation is really about understanding what Pastor Itwa said in his keynote. There's a point that he made that I picked up about the need to recognize that our diversity is who we are. Okay? All these other things that we're talking about, inclusion, equal opportunity policies, and all of those are rational actions that we take to achieve expected outcomes. They're not who we are. They're what we are doing about who we are, or what we are doing with who we are. When it comes to our diversity, there is nothing we can do about that. That's who we are. A short person is a short person. A black person is a black person. A Caucasian is a Caucasian. You can't legislate those. The areas that we, as human beings, should be measured on in terms of how we perform and behave are those areas that we can do something about. For example, using laws, policies, to control or direct how cultures should relate to one another, making it illegal, for example, to discriminate against somebody in the area of employment or service provision on the basis of where they come from, or their religious belief, or their sexuality, or their age, or whatever. Those are specific conscious actions that human beings take in order to reflect that diversity and respect it. So for me, the most important thing there is, one, the recognition that our diversity is who we are. It's a given. However, other things like driving for inclusion, equity, equality of access, participation, all of those things are conscious and rational measures that we take.
Oh, all right, Sam. You've actually, there were actually some questions I was going to put forward, but this brief talk as regards, cultural diversity from your end in relation to what we are facing here has, cleared some doubts about, my perspective and all that. But notwithstanding, I still feel we like speaking from your field as a law practitioner and all that. So like what legal frameworks and policies do you think can help address discrimination and ensure equal opportunities for diverse cultures and communities?
So you said you only had 2 hours for this program. You need
Yes,
more
sir.
than that. You need a day for this.
That's right. Yeah.
Welcome to my world. That's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
Look, there's a fundamental issue there. And that is that increasingly societies are going to be measured now by how they foster inclusion, on many levels. A lot of societies that have realized the benefits of having a positive and a welcoming and affirming attitude towards diversity. The research suggests, there's research evidence that suggests that such societies do better economically and politically than those that shut the door and promote, infighting, racism, discrimination, and all of those things. The tendency the OECD found out quite a few years ago is that societies, I'll give you an example. It's easier to illustrate these things practically. You all know about Dubai. If you go to Dubai, you have a population balance of something like 20% indigenous and 80% foreigners living in Dubai. But nobody gets citizenship. You only get residency. So there's nothing to compete for. So it promotes equality. You're not higher than me. You have no more rights than I have. So that's what you find in Dubai. But people say, if you go to the UK, for example, where I am now, the UK is almost constantly unsettled about itself and its identity. It's almost timorous, always almost completely worried, concerned, anxious about immigrants, despite being itself a nation almost of immigrants. America, a society built on immigration, completely on immigration, has also retained an attitude that is conscious and rational in terms of its social policy and commitment to building an equal society founded around the law, equality before the law. And so you find countries like Australia, Ireland, and all of these people very confident in themselves. Netherlands, Holland, in another, but confident countries, not concerned about their diversity. When you look at some of the research, the UNIDO indicators, they tend to outperform on almost all parameters, all indicators. They outperform some of these countries that have some kind of internal identity crisis, insecurity, not relaxed about foreigners and all that. You tend to find that. Now, as a Nigerian and in Africa, you know the news today. The current topic of discussion today is that Africa's development is being hampered by the fact that freedom of movement and communication within Africa, intra-Africa, is not as it should be. Everybody that is somebody has voiced concerns about this. And so I like the way this discussion is structured in terms of the connecting it to African development. We can't have that development if we don't deliberately fashion out methods, pathways, systems that will foster interaction of different cultures, that will bring people together. There's a lot of initiatives going on. I like also some of the things that I've picked up through the African Leadership Forum group sessions. The interaction between youths of Africa, usually through music, through art, through sport, and all of those things. These are the things, the creative arts, these are the things that pave the way, soften those nervous tensions between cultures. Okay, so you begin to see the, evolving of what you call soft power on the continent, for example. And so those are the things that we need. Those are the areas that countries, communities, states, and nations can use legislation, policies, and initiatives like this to break down those barriers to inclusion.
Banker, are you there? We can't hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Am I audible now?
Okay. Joshua,
Yeah,
please take
you're
over.
back. We can hear you now.
Joshua, please
Okay.
take over and take the last question, please.
Sorry, say again.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. So I didn't know, like I didn't unmute. So what I was saying was that you know, I appreciate your views as regards cultural diversity from your end, because the essence of this panel discussion is we know cultural diversity has several applications in different fields. So the essence of this panel discussion is to you know, is to get similar minds talking about this subject from their respective field, and it's quite been a very informative and educative one for me, sir. We really appreciate your contribution to this subject. So one more question for you, sir. Um, how have you been able to, okay, like as an educator, what role can education play in promoting cultural diversity and unity? And how can we integrate diverse perspectives and histories into the curriculum?
Fantastic question, that one, yes. Without a doubt, because if you recall, when I set out some of the examples that I shared with you, I mentioned the UK, I mentioned the US, and I mentioned UAE, Dubai, and then Africa. What that connotes is that the world is far-flung. The world is diverse. And so it's by a deliberate effort to curate some of the norms and practices in each of these enclaves, if you like. These are cultural islands, diverse and disparate enclaves everywhere. You'll be amazed. You fly all the way to, say, Malaysia, for example, and you find, sometimes to your surprise, if you go to the rural areas, you find things going on there that go on in your own country or your own community where you come from. And then all of a sudden you remember, oh yeah, I can understand. But you didn't think at first. You then realize that, oh yeah, they're also around the equator. These are tropical countries around the equator. You see birds in remote places outside Kuala Lumpur, for example, that you also see in your place, in Ibadan or something. And so you begin to wonder, how does that happen? That's the role that education plays. Now, those things exist. It's not education that created them. It's education that gives you the tools, first of all, to unravel the things that hold them together. In that sense, education is playing the role of a discovery machine, like a vehicle. It's playing the role of a bridge across cultures. It's also providing a platform for engaging across cultures as well. And so, whether it's in the school curriculum or in the corporate world, where I've done much of my work, in the corporate world, I wish these things were addressed more at pretty natal level, primary, not to 5, nursery school, not to 5. Because I say that because what you find is we talk about key concepts in cultural diversity, such as diversity, equality, discrimination, prejudice, stereotyping. I think some of this, I think Kate talked about stereotyping, inclusion, all of these things. These are some of the key components of diversity, key concepts connected with diversity. Now, these things don't exist on their own. Stereotyping is one of the key ways in which all this discrimination goes on. You will find that when a baby is born, they know no difference between black, white, this or that. They don't know. Somebody made them know. It came from somewhere. When they see a man dressed a certain way, they cringe. Why? Somebody has said something. Somebody has said that black people shouldn't be trusted. Hold your handbags when they're around. One grandma may have said so in the house. And children pick up these things. They may be watching TV and an image is dropped there. It's registered. That is how these negative stereotypes are formed. We, the adults, are the guilty party here, not the children. And so this is why education has probably the most fundamental, the most Herculean task in this effort to address the stereotyping. We do it a lot. Oh, Igbo people love money. Yes. But when you look at the ones being grabbed every day for stealing Nigeria's money and all that, few of them are not Igbos. Sorry, few of them are Igbos because they don't get appointed. So that addresses, it just disproves that, phenomenon. On a personal level, if I got a minute, I can share this with you because you asked us to share personal stories. I was one of the consultants hired by the Welsh government when they were devolved around the 2000, when the new law that devolved them came out, and they needed training on how to understand their statutory duties under that law. I was one of 10 people engaged to do that. I was the only black person there. And about 7 of them were women. We had to go and do some training outside in Italy, where the Welsh staff were based. I'm a Nigerian. They read now. They take reading play. And I did my research. And we don't stop reading. Some of these people rely on what they think they know. They don't struggle like us. So my colleague was casual. And she was going to speak about women in Italy. I was going to speak about racism in Europe. So we went there. When I saw, as we were doing the briefing before we left, I saw her presentation. This presentation was talking about the experiences of women in Britain. And I knew that that was not the story in Italy. If you go to Italy, majority of the public service leadership, top echelon, is occupied by women. Most of them unmarried because of some policies they had in the 40s and 50s. She didn't know that, but she didn't think she should learn it from me. Who is this one from Africa to come and teach me? So I kept quiet. I kept my everything quiet. When we got there, I finished my session and I sat down. She got up to speak. And she went into this history of, the World War and the implications for women and all the changes and all that. About 10 minutes into the presentation, one of the women, you could see the room, they were already moving around and everybody was just getting bothered. One of the women stopped and said, no, hold on a minute. Are you sure you prepared this for us? Because this doesn't talk about Italy. And she insisted. Long and short of it, she was mightily, mightily embarrassed. And we all were, as a team, completely senior consultants who traveled all the way to come. And it just showed that we weren't prepared. But what does that mean? I was there in the group. I knew the answer. I had the answer, but I was a black man. Who are you to come and tell me? So in her world, she doesn't learn from black people. That's the problem. And she paid the price. Unfortunately, and collaterally, we all paid the price. These are the sorts of things that stereotyping can do. Negative stereotyping. It can affect you when you're doing recruitment and selection. You've seen the candidate in front of you. The candidate has performed very well. That's the best candidate. You know it. Everybody knows it. This is who your organization needs to survive.
Yeah.
But something in him, about where he comes from, about how he is dressed, the color of his tie is affecting you. And you cannot allow yourself to make the right decision. You're a victim of your own prejudice, not the guy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for that's wonderful perspective again. You know, like I said, sometimes whenever I'm asked about the subject of diversity, one of the things I often, try to emphasize is that the greatest power of the masses is often used against them. That is why we have several prejudices across the world, because the politicians, heads of states, people in leadership positions who have decided to bastardize their offices know the greater capacity and impact of the masses is unity. So what they try to do is, make sure people are at loggerheads together to fight themselves while they sit in their covens, wondering and just laughing at the masses because they themselves don't even know the roots of their problems. So
well, it's called the enlightened self-interest. That's what the elite do, So you see, the thing is this: they are good at their game. They study society. They know they know the levers they need to pull. They know where they need to put you for their benefit. Okay, for some of them, a society where people are collaborating effectively, working together, united, inclusion, is a threat to their interest.
That's right.
To their interest. Okay, so this is why those things have to be countered. And one of the most effective ways of countering them is the kind of thing that ALG is doing by providing. There was a program that we did, I think it was 2-3 months ago, to empower people at the most local level to be aware of their basic rights, civic rights, political rights, social rights, legal rights. Basic empowerment knowledge is the biggest tool that you have that can help neutralize the impact of this predatory, political behavior, elite behavior. Okay, so yeah, I agree with you.
Yes, sir. So we are so out of time. So just we'll have to go to the third panelist now, so that our third panelist is Mrs. Nana Dashe Yaku.
The dog wants to be recognized as well.
It's included.
His language.
Inclusion, include the
Please unmute yourselves.
Please unmute yourself. Yeah, that was just to thank you. Thank you. Sorry for that. The dog itself wants to. So we are so out of time, but we would like to bring our third panelist now, person of Mrs. Dashe Yakubu. I already gave a biography about her before. We are so happy to have you on board, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So we would like to also hear your opinions and views about the subject of cultural diversity. And why do you believe it is essential for society as a whole? Speaking from your office, speaking from your profession and what you do. So, what is cultural diversity from your end, and why do you believe it is essential for society as a whole?
Okay. First, I'd like to thank the ALG group for putting this together. And I also want to say hello to Kate Henshaw. I've watched her movies over the years, and I also follow her on Instagram. She may not know.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Yeah. Diversity is not something to be afraid of. It's something we should promote, something we should celebrate. I mean, learn to accept something new from other people, their skin color, their culture, their religion, their ethnicity. Because when you learn something new about somebody, it also helps you as a person. You now, oh, so this is how they live here. Oh, so this is what they eat here. Now, in today's globalized world, we need to share, to know, and experience other people's culture. Now, I'm going to start with us here within Nigeria, because what we do is to promote domestic tourism. They say, know your backyard. Charity begins at home.
Right.
Yeah, charity begins at home. If you look at Nigeria today, like the other speakers have said, you cannot count the festivals we have within Nigeria. Looking at the northern part of Nigeria alone, you cannot count the festivals and activities that will attract youths to come and learn and know about other people's way of life. So many of them. Personally, I've attended across Nigeria, I've attended so many festivals, so many. In some of these festivals, yeah, I've attended festivals across Nigeria, so many states in Nigeria. And in some of these festivals, there are places that they will tell you that you cannot enter, you can't come into this gate face front, you have to use your back to go in.
Yeah, that's right.
I wouldn't argue with them that, no, why should I do that? Oh, blah, blah, blah. I do it. But I've learned something, that is their way of life. You respect it. You respect their way of life. Now, like you mentioned, I'm also a hiker. I hike. I'm a chairperson of the Plateau Hikers and Tour Association. We have over 20 hike groups in Plateau State, different hike groups. So we brought them together to form an association. And each of these hike groups, we have leaders from across Nigeria. We have some of the leaders of some of them, some are Yoruba, some are Igbo. Because Plateau State, as you know, is a cosmopolitan town, from the history of tin mining, agri-farming and stuff like that. We have them, and each group, you have people of different religion. We have Muslims, we have Christians, just name it. And the hiking community is a family. It's a family. We help each other. We look after each other. If there's a problem with any of the groups or anything, we come in. If there's been an accident or anything, we come in. And most of these groups, members of those groups are youths. One thing I love to do is to mentor youths. I love youth mentoring. So I love bringing them together. They come together in businesses, they network. In their businesses, they network. And now they respect each other. Now there's this, you could want to hike a trail, a community, and then they'll tell you that don't wear red shirt, or tell your group members not to wear red shirt or red t-shirt or something, or trouser. Then by the time you tell your members, please, when we're hiking this trail, don't wear a red shirt. They have their reasons. And if you check, probably it's nothing much, but because that's their belief, they'll say, oh, years back, or 20, 30, 40 years back, somebody was wearing red and he fell into the waterfalls or something like that. So they believe that something that doesn't like red is around there and doesn't want anybody in red to come around there. But that is what they think, that's their belief. So you respect that, because you are hiking a community where you need to understand, by the time you hike a trail, you respect their culture, you respect their way of life, and you respect the people. One of the things I also want to encourage us here, I hope you don't mind me sharing some pictures. Do you mind me sharing pictures?
You
I think
can
it's
go ahead,
okay
Ma.
to share.
You can go ahead, Ma. You can go
Okay,
ahead.
okay.
It's fine. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. But one thing that we need to encourage in Nigeria is cultural exchange programs. We need to do that. If there's a festival in Southwest, the government, groups, NGOs who are into youth promotion, who are into diversity promotion, trying to capture the minds of youth, you arrange, you organize for youth within the North to go and experience the culture in the South or in the West. And those in the East, you come to the West, come to the North to experience this culture, because that is where they establish relationships. I think that is the sense behind having federal schools. But now we're talking about festivals, culture, because there are so many of us here today are being, we have this perception of, if I come to, like, say, come to Plateau State now, if you come to Jos or come to any part of the north, oh, they are killing people on the streets. Because somebody said it, and you have not been there. So somebody said so, and you just made up your mind, oh, I cannot go to Plateau State. Oh, I cannot go to this state because this is what is happening there. Now, that person also had it, probably an exaggerated version of what happened. Let's not forget that every state in Nigeria has its peculiar problem, but it shouldn't stop us from what? From coming together, from learning to accept each other the way we find ourselves. Because one, it will help us in life, especially the youths. Now I'm going to share pictures. There's this young girl that came to Jos. She is from Akwa Ibom State. Her name is Mfong Cyril Udo. She's also Waka Waka girl on social media. She came to Jos for a course in NTA College, but somehow she embraced the state and the state embraced her. And there is no festival within the state that this young girl has not been part of. And she takes fantastic pictures. She's won awards of best photographer of the year. These are pictures she took. This is in Kaduna State. This is a Kaduna festival. She took this in Kaduna. Then we also have festivals within Plateau State that she's been part of. This is a festival in Plateau State. This is where I come from, the Leopard people, Tarok people. She was there with us. And each time she attends this festival, she must experiment their local cuisine. She eats them. She even learns to go and cook them. By the time she gets home, she cooks some of this local cuisine. She has been to Kano. She has been to Kano for the Daba. She has been to Kaduna. Bauchi Daba. She has been to this is Mfong. This is her. This is Mfong Cyril. She's Waka Waka girl. This is the example of what we call somebody who embraces diversity. This is who she is. She is not from the north, but she has gone around most of the festivals within the north, and she mixes easily with the locals. She communicates and mixes easily with the locals, and you find out that they accept her very easily because she has broadened her mindset to accept other people's culture and, of course, to live with people. Now, these are some of the hiking activities we've had within the state. Having over 100 youths come together from different backgrounds, different walks of life, networking, making friends, and so on. So these are the kind of activities that we should encourage to see how diversity will be something that Nigeria will be proud of. There are people who would like to even come to different states to experience what they plant. This is what we have. We've had people come into Plateau State just to what? To go to farms where they plant carrots, cabbage, strawberry farms. We also have strawberry farms. Why they come is to understand how these things happen within the state. To embrace diversity. That is what we're talking about. Now, cultural diversity also help promote peaceful coexistence among the people. We'll also have to learn not to criticize each other. Nigerians are very fond of that. We love criticizing each other. We don't appreciate what God has given us, especially our youth. I'll say social media has its advantages, but the disadvantages is what it does to our youths. The way they blow information, the way they exaggerate it, and of course, by the time one youth sends something, it goes viral. And that is what they work with. So one of the things that Nigeria as a country should do is to encourage cultural exchange. Cultural exchange programs. Know your backyard, understand the way of life of another person, and not to criticize how these people live their lives. Now, one of the prominent negative efforts of tourism is the exploitation of cultural resources and environmental degradation. The trends in tourism show that the tourist is looking for authenticity. Most of these tourists now want the real thing. We've had people that come from US wanting to go to villages, sleep in the community, eat what the community cooks, and drink the local beer, local brew. Just experiment, experience the life of those community. So we're having so many of these people coming in now wanting authenticity, because they know that diversity is something that should be celebrated, not something that we should be afraid of. Ordinarily, you would think, oh, why would somebody from US want to come and stay in a village, sleep in a thatch hut, and then, of course, go into the local woman's kitchen to cook, to learn how to cook their local dishes, to learn how to cook their local drinks and beer, because that is what they want. Probably tired of all the skyscrapers they are used to. They want the real thing. They want culture. They want to experience culture. So I think we should see how we work closely to encourage our youths to accept diversity. I keep insisting and I keep talking about exchange programs within Nigeria. Sharing experiences within Nigeria is very important, because they say charity begins at home. Let's appreciate what we have. Know your backyard. Love your culture. Then from there, broaden your horizon within your country. Then from there, you can go out. And by the time you go out, you have something to say. You have an authority over what you say of the culture in your country, the diverse culture in your country, not hearsay, not what somebody said, not what my friend posted on the social media and you work with. Because having a sense of culture, a sense of understanding another person's ethnicity and way of life helps to instill pride in us as a people. You'll be proud of your culture. You'll be proud of where you're coming from. You'll be proud of saying that, oh, we have diverse culture in Nigeria, but we appreciate and love each culture. You can say something authoritatively about this culture because you've been part of this culture, you've experienced this culture, you've traveled for some of these festivals, and you know how it is. It is not the way others say it. Some people say it round. They send it on social media because they just had stories, but they've never experienced it. So I'll always encourage that it's good to experience some of these things. Our girl here, Mfong Cyril Udo, is a girl that I always want to show as a good example of youths who embrace diversity. Like I said, she's gone round. She's gone round. In fact, probably if she's had more sponsorship, probably she would have gone around all the states within the country, because this is something she does on her own. She does on her own with no sponsorship. But because she loves to learn about other people's culture, she appreciates it. And of course, it has widened her horizon in the way she thinks. So I don't know. Can I go on, or you still
All
have other
right.
questions?
Yeah, actually, thank you so much for, I really wanted to give you the opportunity and the time to express yourself fully, because I could see that, you were speaking from your heart. You're speaking from your heart, and being someone that has, a lot of background experience on these down years, I understand where you're speaking from and why you have so much of experiences to share with us. We really appreciate everything. But I think I will I will just ask one final question from you. What do you have to tell the ALG Youth Forum? Do you appreciate what we are doing, or how how do you think this is a nice initiative, or is there anything at all you'd like to tell this forum or the organizers of this? In 2 minutes, Mike. 2 minutes. Yes, sir.
Okay, I would like to, like I said earlier, I really appreciate this is they say the journey of 100 miles starts with one step. This is just the beginning. I believe ALG will do more. I've mentioned exchange programs. ALG can also initiate programs like this, exchange programs. You can just pick out a few schools, pick out a few youths, and see how you start having exchange programs within various states through festivals. I encourage festivals because that is where you get most of the culture from. You experience real culture when you attend festivals of people from within states in Nigeria. So ALG should look into how they can include exchange programs, because it is an interesting area where diversity can come into play a very key role in helping our youths to embrace others and also widen their horizon.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mark, for that information. Yes, sir. Over to you, sir, Barrister Kachi Okeze. Do we still have you on board, sir?
Okay, we have questions for the barrister because someone actually directed the question to the barrister. So,
Oh,
so barrister Kachi, are you still there, sir?
I'm right here.
Okay.
Where else would I go after that fascinating, arresting presentation about Black people? I was just dreaming. I was traveling up the Hills.
Wow. So the question says, can cultural study be programmed into our tiers levels of educational curriculum? If already in existence, how do we improve on its performance?
Good.
Okay, that question, is it for me or for the barrister?
Yeah, it's for the barrister. It was barrister, ma'am.
I think we can all have
Okay.
a go at it. Definitely, yes, of course, yes. Let me tell you one thing. One thing I've learned over the years, we've got to be careful because of the issue that we picked up earlier. We've got to be careful not to allow some of these creative, imaginative, and almost radical ideas and thoughts go under the moving truck of the establishment. Okay? We've had experiences of different things we tried to do in the past, and then we said, oh, let's go to the Ministry of Education and help them develop a curriculum. We try to do something with leadership at primary school level, do that and all that. And the next thing we see, the leadership of the ministry were not in the slightest interest. The question they asked us was, how much will this bring to them? Okay. And so we're
I
trying
also
to do
like to add something to that.
We want to offer as volunteers to help our country. And the question is, how much are we bringing to them in terms of money? And so what I was going to suggest is this. Good. If you can put it in the curriculum, that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with organizing parallel events. It doesn't have to be part of the school thing. There's nothing stopping you in law, as far as I know, setting up a community kid club, a community youth club, or whatever, and you educate them there. What we've learned now in this sitting here from the two amazing ladies that I've been privileged to sit with here this afternoon, what I've absorbed, okay, you probably couldn't pay for it in tuition fees. You couldn't. Okay, so we can do that. An organization like ALG has the vehicle. All they need to do is to form a team, draw up an action plan, and get this thing implemented. And it will happen. It won't stop school happening. This is outside of school. Europe is full of initiatives like that. A lot of the work I did in diversity across Europe was funded by the EU as a parallel program. They've got the Grandvic program, the Michelangelo program. All of these things. There's so many of them, up to 12 of them that I was about, targeting different groups, and it's funded by the EU across various countries. Yeah. So yeah, definitely we can. It can run parallel to the school system. This system will kill it. It will kill it. I warn you now.
Okay, let me add something to the curriculum thing. The Federal Ministry of Education has been able to inculcate tourism into secondary schools curriculum. I'm one of the resource persons that developed tourism as a curriculum. Now, for tourism, it's an entrepreneurial subject, more of a skill acquisition subject. So in the curriculum subject, what we added was festivals across Nigeria. So they should now understand that festivals across Nigeria can also fetch you money as a tour guide. If you can package youths or tourists or people to be part of these festivals, can also fetch you money. But I think with what we're talking about today, diversity, how it can also help them in their thinking, we should be able to, we should be able to do more, not only as an entrepreneurial subject, but how it can help them in the way of life. Because eventually, even in their leadership, if you accept diversity, your leadership style will also be different. Just like what the example you gave us, your leadership style, you look at people from very beautiful perspectives. Oh, this person is from this country, and this is how. So you treat the person and act, and also be able to work with the person from the perspective of knowing where he's coming from. So I think more should be done. NERDC is the parastatal under Federal Ministry of Education that inculcates curriculum subjects. So probably we NGOs, associations, as it is now, we cannot leave everything to government. Just like my brother said, if you keep saying government, you meet with bottlenecks. So associations like this, NGOs like ALG can come up with something. You go to NERDC, okay, how can we add more to what has been put in for tourism as an entrepreneurial subject? Oh, this is what we want. Looking at it from this angle, accepting diversity so that it will help build them. It will help build them for future works, of course, because we want great leaders for our country. So that posterity can even judge us that, okay, these people did what they could. They tried to see how they shape their youth for a better country, for a better Nigeria, for a better living in the world. So I think it's something that we should look at. Honestly, I really appreciate what this group is doing. I pray that it will be sustainable, that this is just the beginning. More, yes, sir.
It's I think it's our
Sir?
collective challenge now to sustain it.
Sir?
I think it's our collective challenge now.
Yes, 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 sir.
ALG has
Okay.
kindled something. They've kindled make sure that this thing doesn't run out of steam. And I
Yeah.
think it's a commitment that we can all make, okay, to
Yeah.
push. On my part, for example, hearing you, I really wanted to wait till you spoke. Hearing you now, I can now immediately understand one of our diaspora groups. One of our diaspora groups has been approaching us saying they've got kids, generation diaspora kids abroad who want to come and experience exactly what we saw.
Yeah.
So maybe at some point, the ALG will probably put us in touch, and because I would like to introduce you to them.
Okay, and of course, in my book, let me share in my book. One of the things I really looked at was youth tourism, encouraging youths that there are areas where youths can benefit from this sector. And one of what I really emphasize on is peaceful coexistence. Peaceful coexistence. When they do things together as youths, it will help them. It will help them grow, move. Yes, coming together as youths. So if you're able to if any of these youths that have been able to lay their hands on my book, there are areas where youths can benefit from tourism. I really took time.
Thank you, Ma. I think we can take that up with you because it's something, as Barrister Kachi said, it's something that we would like to work with different groups to sustain. But because of time, maybe we can just start. But the youth will definitely be in touch with you. You've expressed a lot that they can really get from, and we're hoping that we can collaborate with you on this initiative in really getting the youth engaged in this thing that brings us together. So thank you. I'm going to hand over back to them as they begin to bring it to a close.
Okay, thank you, Ma. So, but before we proceed, there is another question for Miss Kate Enshaw. The person said, like, in population, I mean, in census, there are some culture that won't allow their women to be counted. Likewise, some culture too won't allow their people to come before the camera. Miss Kate Enshaw, are you there?
I'm right here.
Okay, Ma. Like, there are some culture that won't allow their people to come before the camera or to be filmed or video or something, just to bring them out. In your profession, Ma, have you encountered such culture? Thank you, Ma.
No, I haven't. Did you say, is it in Nigeria?
Good question.
Is it in Nigeria?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Really? Well, you have to respect people's culture. I mean, that's what that's part of what makes for diversity. You have to respect, like Ms. Nana was saying about walking backwards into. So I mean, for someone like me, I would like, why am I walking backwards? That's funny. But if that is what holds sway there, you have to respect it. They don't want to be in front of the camera. They don't want to be in front of the camera. You just have to respect their choices. That's what it's about. But I haven't encountered, I don't think I know of any culture that doesn't allow people come in front of the camera. People always rush to the front of the camera, if I remember correctly. You want to be inside, you'll be the one telling them, go back, be quiet, face the other way. They want to look, so I don't know.
Thank you, Ma. So it's
You're
been
welcome.
we're just going to proceed with the program and to bring it to a close, but we have a few things to do. So we appreciate you. You know, the diversity growing up, there are some stories. They said like we have diverse culture and languages because people were trying to build a tower. And as they are building the tower, God just got angry and give them different languages so that they won't understand themselves.
Each other.
They won't be able to come to God.
That's how the
So
Tower of Babel came to be.
yes.
Yes.
So the story. So then we appreciate the richness, the beauty, the music, the heart. Ocho, thank you, our panelists. So I'm going to go back to Uche to end the panel section because we have a few things to do. Thank you so much. It's nice having you. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, distinguished panelists, and we appreciate your showing up and your efforts, to be a part of this. I pray in all our endeavors we in favor. All right. So we are going to go to the next section, and I will call on the team lead, Joshua, to carry on from here. Thank you.
Okay, before we call the team lead, sorry, briefly. So we brought different gifts for our participants. We brought cards, the kind of economy in Nigeria now. So we brought gifts, like gifts. So I'll call on P to handle the section of giveaway. So we still want our panelists to be with us because we might engage you as we move on, just a few minutes of your time. So we are moving forward. One of the AIG youths, because the youth tribe. So please, I want you to take the icebreaker for a few minutes, please. So make it stop. Thank you. We are running behind schedule. Okay. Please, are you there? Okay.
Yes. Okay. For the icebreaker section, I would like to call on the following names to message me. I'll drop my number in the comment section. I would like Okeke Uche Chukwu to message me. Ajayi Tijesu, AJ Caleb, please do message me. And I would like to ask just 2 questions before we move on. I want someone who has been with us from the beginning of the program just tell us the theme for today's program. Please, you can comment in the you can write your answer in the comment section, please. We have limited time. I await response from.
So, thank you. Yes, they'll put it in the comment section, like in the chat. They'll put it in the chat so that we can move on. So thank you. Yeah. And in case we are going to call on our special guest, so to spend just 1 minute each. So start with Auntie Yemisi and some quotes, just 1 minute. So to show you that we appreciate your presence, we appreciate you a lot. So Auntie Yemisi and some quotes from NNGO. Are you there? So if you are there, kindly unmute.
I am very much here. Hello, everyone.
Good to see you, Ma. You're welcome, Ma.
Yes, I've been listening to such a refreshing contribution from my dear sister, Kate Henshaw, and our erudite lawyer, Mr. Okezie.
Auntie, good evening.
Good evening, darling. How are you? And Mrs. Dashe, Nana. I mean, I'm 77 years old, so I always feel like I'm getting a shot of fresh blood when I listen to young people talking so passionately. Diversity is something that was ordained by the Almighty. We all know that variety is the spice of life. Unity is strength, and division is a weakness. And we all have to recognize that we all have our cultural biases. No matter how you think you are so egalitarian, something in you has told you that men are like this, women are like that, the Japanese people are like this, Chinese are like that. So we all have our various, and we must recognize this and try to work with it. But it's important that we also understand that for us to promote diversity in Nigeria and all these beautiful ideas you have about exchange visits and that, we must ensure that our government provides security, because nobody wants to go to zones where things are insecure. And to really enjoy our diversity, we have to recognize that no culture is superior to another one. And the understanding of culture and diversity and all these issues have to start from the home. And young people have to also expand their knowledge of the world, of evolution, of natural history, so that you are coming to the discussion with an informed mind and an open mind that can understand other people and where they are coming from. And you'll be able to deal with them based on not just what you know, but understanding what they know and the challenges they may face to come to the position that you are. And in Nigeria, we must create systems that promote unity in diversity. We have this wonderful system with the NYSC, which is doing quite a bit, but we also have to create this unity by understanding and creating systems, having unified values and ethics and standards and principles that help us not to be suspicious of each other. You cannot trust somebody that you don't know where they're coming from, what their mindset in. So that is why organizations like the National Orientation Agency, ALG, religious institutions, professional institutions, educational institutions have to understand that we must have a set of principles as Nigerians that we all sign up to. So when I go to the North, East, West, I know that I'm dealing with people who are also on that same page with me, and I don't have to fear them. I understand, they understand love, discipline, compassion, honor, patriotism, and we all have the responsibility to promote this culture. We talk of cultural diversity. We love our culture. We like the diversity in it. But how many people intentionally make sure they dress in the outfits or the cultural elements of their groups? I would love to go into the streets and see a lady wearing something from Taraba, another one from Anambra. This is the color of the rainbow that we must all promote. And wherever we are, particularly when we're out of our country, we have a responsibility to promote Nigeria. Whenever I travel, I love what you're wearing, Jumoka, even though that I know you are all the way in the United States.
Yeah.
So we all have this responsibility to promote our culture, to invest in our people, to encourage productivity by buying and using those locally made goods from all over the country that will ensure that our economic development is a real thing that develops the country. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this youthful evening. It's been wonderful being with all of you, and I love you, and I want to make sure that you promise to love each other and hold each other up and make sure that you are the best people in the world, because you surely are.
And they'll be calling on you for
all.
more support as they launch out. So thank you for being there for them. I'm sure they'll reach out to you for additional support that you would be giving to them to continue this new role. Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you so much, Ma. We appreciate you. We love you too. So you mentioned NYSC. Thank you. It's actually a great one. I did my NYSC program at the National Assembly. I met the Fulani, the Hausa, that there is another tribe in Kaduna. In our office we have the Edo. Now I can tell you my name in Hausa, like Sunana, Banke, all. So, and here I am a Yoruba girl. I'm here with my gele. can see as a Yoruba
Well
girl.
done, well done, well done.
Thank you, ma. So now we are going to call one of our special guests here, Mrs. The person representing the Mrs. Oyebode. So we are calling on Mrs. Olasoji to spend just a few minutes, like 2 minutes, ma. So
Thank
if
you
are
so
still with
much.
us, thank you,
Yes,
ma.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma,
Can
we
you
can
hear me?
hear you.
Okay,
Just
good
a minute.
evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, our panelists. It's been awesome time listening to every contribution here today. I am super honored to be here. And on behalf of Dr. Aisha Mohammed Oyebode and Murtala Mohammed Foundation, I would like to say thank you for having us here. And I think I would just make a quick note on what Ms. Ketensha started with, the fact that God himself was intentional about diversity, going down towards even the creation of animals. He didn't create the animals, just one single animal. He diversified, making different ones. And it shows us that how important individual differences is. And that goes down to cultural diversity. So I would like to encourage us to embrace cultural diversity, because that's one of the ways we can actually make the world a better place, when we understand that, oh, this person is different, their culture is different, what they want, how they live their life is different, and you're okay with it. You are fine with it, and you're able to make adjustments to accommodate them, even in your dealings, going down into from our personal life to our professional life at place of work. You understand that, oh, this person is different. I'm working with diverse set of people from different geopolitical zone, and you're able to embrace and understand each person from where they are coming from where their background is. I believe strongly that when we all come to embrace cultural diversity, we'll definitely, we are a step closer to making the world a better place. Thank you so much for having me here. On behalf of Dr. Aisha, I say a big thank you to the organizers of the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma. We are so happy to have you, ma. So then we will further our discussion with you after the program. Thank you, ma. And say as well to Mrs. Oyebode. We so much appreciate that support.
I definitely will.
So we are moving forward. Now we're going to, there's something in ALG, we have different initiatives to groom the youth. There is something we call R.E.A.L. We call it R.E.A.L, Responsible, Accountable, Ethical Leadership. So now we want to launch it before our panelists, our special guests, and we need more contribution. So we are going to go the diverse way. So to really appreciate the diversity and the strengths of our culture. So I'm going to be calling Omido Stella Akito from Ondo State, the southwestern part of Nigeria. You are welcome.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm excited about everything that's been going on. I've learned a lot, and I've been able to see things differently from how I used to see it. So it is an honor for me to be here today at the pioneer program of R.E.A.L Advocates. That's the Responsible, Ethical and Accountable Leaders, which is the youth arm of Africa Leadership Group. This initiative is an initiative that is dedicated to nurturing responsible leaders, accountable leaders, and leaders that consider ethics as the paramount thing in whatever they do. As we celebrate today the UNESCO's World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development, we are reminded of the power of diversity to drive positive change in our world. The R.E.A.L Advocate is a dynamic and passionate group of young individuals from the age of 15 to 35, committed to driving positive changes in Africa. And today, we're back on a journey together, a journey that seeks to transform the future by investing in our most valuable resource, which is the youth. This initiative is more than just this program that we are in right now. It is a movement towards building a generation of leaders who understand that true leadership is grounded in responsibility, in ethics, and in accountability. Today's event, which is the UNESCO's program, is our pioneer event to launch the activities of these R.E.A.L advocates, which includes youth empowerment, advocacy and awareness, partnership and collaboration, innovation and entrepreneurship, and also a monthly dialogue tagged engaging the youth on knowledge and information sharing. In ALG, the R.E.A.L advocates, we know for a fact that being a leader is not just about holding a position, it's about being responsible for those you lead and the community you serve. Responsibility is about recognizing that our actions have consequences and striving to make decisions that benefit the greater good. Our youth arm is committed to instilling this sense of responsibility. We will provide opportunities for young people to be able to engage in meaningful projects, to learn from experienced mentors, and to understand that they have the power to shape their communities positively. When we are responsible as leaders, we are able to create a ripple effect that can transform our society. And through our programs, we're also going to emphasize the importance of ethical decision making. We explore real world scenarios, engage in thoughtful discussion, and also cultivate a culture where our integrity is not just encouraged but expected. And in our youth arm, we'll also create frameworks that encourage accountability, and we're able to promote self-assessment, peer review, and constructive feedback, and hold ourselves accountable for all our action. I'm so excited about today because a lot has gone into the youth arm of ALG, and on this day, as we honor cultural diversity, we recognize that our differences are our strengths. And diversity brings a wealth of perspective, ideas, and experiences that enrich our community. Our youth arm will celebrate this diversity, fostering an environment where our voice is heard and our culture is respected. As we launch this youth arm, I am filled with optimism and excitement because we are not just preparing leaders for tomorrow, but we are empowering them to lead today. And to fellow young leaders present, I want us to know that we are the architects of the future, and our commitment to responsibility, to ethics, and accountability will shape a world that values integrity and embraces diversity and strives for the common good. I want to extend my heartfelt appreciation to this remarkable organization and the dedicated youth engagement team, which I am part of. And I encourage everyone today to join hands together and let us embark on this journey together with determination in our hearts and a shared vision for a brighter future. Thank you, and let us make this the beginning of a transformative movement for generations to come and for the youth of ALG. A lot has gone into this, and I'm grateful, I'm happy, and I'm so excited that we are able to come this far, and we are still going to move further than where we are right now. So thank you everyone for being here. And on this note, we are launching the R.E.A.L advocates, which is the responsible, the ethical, and the accountable leaders of the Africa Leadership Group, which is also the Tri-Africa Empowerment Foundation. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. So we now have the R.E.A.L. We've launched our R.E.A.L that says the responsible, accountable, ethical leaders. So we are going to appreciate ourselves once again. Like she has said, we've put in so much into that. So and we are grooming the coming generation that will bring the change that we are all clamoring for in Nigeria. Thank you so much. So we've come to the end of the program. I'm going to be handing over to our team lead, Joshua, to give us the lesson learned and at the same time round up the program. Thank you so much. It's nice having you here. Bye.
Thank you very much, Adibanke. Thank you very much. So today's program has really been insightful, and I'll just be taking a rundown through of what was learned throughout, starting from the video that was even sent. If you watch the video, you see that there are 5 different tribes, different cultural backgrounds from across the world. We saw that from Swaziland, the long neck tribe of Thailand, Ethiopia. So this discussion has really encouraged us to embrace our diversity. So I'll be listing out those things that our panelists said during the course of their discussion. So the first one, when Miss Kate was explaining diversity as she knows it, she said it makes for variety. It makes for variety. And she said that diversity is where our strength lies. She also mentioned the fact of stereotyping, our experience. We can also see our barrister Kachi. He also shared his experience on stereotyping and making known that diversity should be encouraged, should be well encouraged. Also, Mrs. Nana Dashes also mentioned the importance of cultural exchange programs, attending cultural gatherings, festivals. These are very important. So today has really been insightful, and it's a privilege to have prominent members of our country speak to us. I thank every panelist for gracing us with their presence and sharing their experiences. We do not take it for granted. We look forward to having you back on this space to talk to us on several other topics. To our special guest, we appreciate you honoring our request. And TMC, thank you very much, Ma. Also appreciate the representative, I think it's Miss Olabisi, am I right?
Olasoji.
Olasoji, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ma, for coming. God bless you richly. To our father, Pastor Itua, thank you, sir, for the opportunity provided to we youth to run such a program under the Africa Leadership Group. I also want to especially recognize Madam Jumoke Akintelo for her timely and constant encouragement to will us forward for the success of this program. Also to all ALG executives, thank you for your support. Special thanks to Pastor Olu Victor, Executive Secretary, and Programs Manager, Ms. Yetunde, for all back-end support. God bless you all. To my team members, you guys are great. God will continually favor you in your endeavors. To our participants, today's program would not have been possible without you. Thank you for coming, and we hope to have you in subsequent programs. God bless you all. So, Madam Jumoke, do you have anything to say?
No, just extremely proud of you guys, and just knowing that this is the beginning. Just my heart is overwhelmed. You guys put a lot of work into it. I know how many meetings you had, and just to thank God for the success of today and that you just didn't give up. Thank you, Tunde, for her resilience, and just really we're here to continue to support you in every way that we can. And just looking forward to the great exploits that you're going to do with this new movement. God bless you, and I love you guys.
Love you too. Love you too. Thank you, Ma.
Maybe Pastor Itwa has something to say, the last word, and then we close. The father of the house.
Well, just to thank you all for all the hard work that you put into this project, and for the conversations that we have had. To thank all our panelists for their wonderful contributions and for being online and for all that illumination. I think the general conclusion is that we must continue to work on diversity. We must continue to work on inclusiveness. We must try and play our parts to make sure that the world is a better place. And like I heard some people say, that is how God created the world. And that's what he wanted, so that different kinds of animals, different kinds of people, different keys on the keyboard make the harmony and the love that we want. So I'm grateful to God that we now recognize that there's strength in diversity, and there's unity in strength. And putting all the pieces together will make the pieces work. Other than that, I want our young people to know that Nigeria belongs to them. They need to begin to think and plan for the future. Think and plan for the kind of leadership they want to see in the future. Think and plan for the kind of country they want to see in the future. Think and plan for what they want to become in the future. And the future is not so far away. The future really runs up at you with a lot of speed. And I can tell them that in 20, 25 years' time, a lot of the people that they see now, they look at and they admire as leaders, they will not be around. And even if they're around, they will not be physically fit or strong enough to play the active role that they have played thus far. So the future belongs to them. If you are 20, 25 years old and above, you must be ready to play a great part in the future that we see. And they must make sure that they build a much better Nigeria and they put all the pieces in place to make sure that there's no more corruption, there's no more indiscipline, there's no more psychophancy, and there's no more discrimination on the basis of diversity. We can build a great Nigeria, and I'm sure you guys will do that. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Thank you again, back office, for keeping the thing going. The Lord will bless you all, and we look forward to the next conversation that I'm sure will be strong and punchy and bring about great, great outcomes. Yetunde, thanks a lot. God bless you.
So thank you very much, everyone. We have come to the end of today's program and we can now leave the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Great presentation.
God bless you. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much. God bless Nigeria. God bless Africa. Bye.
Yes. Thank you all for speaking with us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Thank you, Saeed. Have a good night. God bless you all.
And have a lovely evening. Thank you,
God bless you.
ALG. God bless you all.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone,
everyone.
for coming.
Thank you
Thank you,
very much.
Mrs. Olasoji. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I appreciate the
Thank you.
donation of this program. Thank you.
God bless you.
Bye.